So I wonder if they'll be in the studio.
I bet you they probably will be. Maybe. Well, maybe.
Well, I haven't heard that they've gone back yet, so probably not.
But I mean, if they just had like a couple of people in there just to do this.
Oh, speaking of the studio.
Yeah, look at it. It's
look
empty.
how empty it is. Jeez.
It's certainly difficult to be away from
supposedly Sony wants to make their like live stream feel like an E3 presentation. I don't know how true that is, but I saw an article like a day or two after it got canceled.
When you look at the number of things we were able to accomplish in a pretty short period of time, it's a testament to all the skills and passion at all levels of the company.
My fan off.
The first case of a new potentially deadly virus has been confirmed in the United States, and it's right in our own backyard.
Given the explosion of the COVID-19 virus in our state and globally, I will sign a statewide executive proclamation later today, temporarily shutting down restaurants, bars, entertainment, and recreational
I saw that New Zealand's almost done with their...
Well, it really started for us back in February when we were starting to hear early stages about the global pandemic.
Solid, hopefully, United States and Canada, because we both of us got hit last, for the most part, like, for terms of peak.
Yeah.
It was
But with all the protesting going on in the world, who knows?
Yeah.
Uncertainty.
We had to rise to this challenge and go from a studio all working in person day to day to working distributed all over the Puget Sound region. We developed a 5-phase plan driven by 5 priorities, and the top priority for us was employee safety. So very quickly it was developing a plan so we could get our employees working remotely and also ensuring that the day-to-day experience of playing Destiny was available for all of our players.
Like a hot dog thing?
Yeah.
No, so far everything.
My fat ass dogs wouldn't fit in that thing.
Something that's very particular about Destiny is that we do work on Bungie machines to make sure that we keep certain aspects of Destiny secure, and so in order to do that, we had to look at provisioning up to 400 laptops, which was a huge number for us.
We have artists, we have designers, we have writers, we have engineers, testers. There's so many different workflows that require specific technology.
Oh wow, that's like just in his garage.
I was gonna say.
So that I can record some.
We were talking about that a couple weeks ago, like how to do the mocapping.
Everybody who was working for
Was that dude recording voice lines in his closet?
Yeah, that's Zavala.
Crazy. Yeah. Oh, I knew it was Zavala, but I didn't know he was doing it in his closet. It's crazy.
A lot of people like to record in their closet because it's so like all the sound dampening is in there. So
yeah, I guess the clothes in there would help too.
Moments where a team that's often behind the scenes suddenly came front and center.
Our guys, they're willing to stay all through the night, and not a complaint out of a single guy. I mean, it's the best team I've ever worked with, and I could not be prouder to stand by their sides.
You got it.
As we started to get in a position where we were operational day to day, we asked ourselves, well, what can we do locally?
The Bungie Foundation has been really busy, hard at work, and we wanted to make sure that our families, especially the most vulnerable families in our community, would be able to be taken care of in that time.
So we asked ourselves, well, what can we do for kids in the area? So we actually partnered with Boys and Girls Club in the area to help provide food for kids who were no longer going to school.
They are serving about 500 meals per day, and at this point, since the middle of March, that actually equates to about 30,000 meals that they provided for families in the Bellevue community.
Bungie Foundation, thank you. Thank you, Bungie Foundation.
It's incredible stuff, but being able to use our infrastructure to support that. And then, of course, the huge effort with direct relief.
We partnered with Direct Relief, and we wanted to find a way to support those who have been probably some of the most hardest hit in this pandemic, which are our frontline healthcare workers. So we spun up a month-long fundraiser, and we set a goal of $700,000 to be raised in that period of time, and we've already reached our goal, which is really exciting.
One thing that's really become clear to me is how much we're all driven by that mission of we create worlds that inspire friendship. And I think it also says something about how much everyone cares about each other here.
The fact that they are willing to put their money where their mouth is to support the quality of life of the individuals that work for the studio.
I need to do more charity
I think
streaming.
Bungie is amazing. I look at the situation that other people
Yeah, just the next time I do one, I'm not going to be deleting my Guardians.
Bungie's made this commitment to each one of us.
I want to say thank you
to
the
come up
entire
with something
studio,
more
because
creative.
I had the great privilege to be part of this awesome team and this awesome company, and I can't say enough about that.
The thing that I've learned the most from this is doing the right thing and prioritizing people's health and well-being has a rippling effect. I think that we'll see that in the game, and I think we'll see that in the community for years to come.
Fuck you.
Bunkers and towers. F you.
What happened?
So they hit you up with the feel-good story to when they come on. They'll be like, well, we really don't have anything to announce.
We also did Seraph and also Season of Arrivals. There we go.
We're really
69-20. Woo!
69.
Hey, Ninja, what was that? Where did that picture come from that you posted in spoiler?
The Bungie website.
Oh.
One of their pages.
That'd be awesome if we got that in the skybox. So they're going to start off by talking about the season or the expansion first?
I think season.
Yeah.
I think maybe like a trailer for the season.
Yeah, I think that would be the best way to do is you go in with the season and then you generate the hype. You always save the best for last.
Give the roadmap.
I don't want to see a roadmap.
No, you don't want anything. You're just
like I'm fine with like a trailer. Like you get a snippet of like the exotics, but you don't know what it is, and then like a snippet of like whatever the activity is, and like that's all I need. Like I don't need to know like, oh, like on the 24th, this exotic quest is gonna start. Like it'd be nice to just go in, just log into Destiny and be like, oh, you know, so and so's got a marker above them. Let me go check out what that is.
Yeah, I think that's what I was hoping for with this last season because they didn't really show much on the world map, but then there was just nothing. And I think that's what really hurt Bastion, is knowing that we were going to get it.
Oh, yeah, because people thought that Quarters of Time was something else. And then when we started realizing maybe this was for Bastion, then people kind of were like, oh, great.
Yeah, if they didn't know it was Bastion, that whole, like, event would have been... fantastic. Like everybody would have loved it, but since
because everybody thought it was something brand new that Bungie didn't say anything about, so it's like, oh, what is this? What could this possibly be? But then once you realized it was going to be Bastion,
I don't mind having like the times on when like, hey, this week is Iron Banner.
Oh sure,
stuff like that, like live events. So like, hey, like this is when this is starting. But yeah, for like exotic quest lines. Like special things, kind of keep that a secret because then it makes like
5 seconds.
No, Sully's already watching it. What are you talking about?
No, I just
yeah, I just got black screened.
Streamed in, done.
Yep.
Error code Beaver right now.
Yep. The stream is
Beaver disappears.
Oh shit.
Oh, here we go.
The fuck is this?
It's their starting thing.
Notifications.
TV.
Bungie TV, let's go.
Whoa.
New subscription-based service.
You can only get this from Tess.
Pre-recorded interview.
I'm Mark.
Hey, Luke.
May 2020.
General Manager. I'm Luke Smith, and I'm the Destiny 2 Game Director. Before we started the show today, we wanted to just acknowledge the circumstances and the unprecedented times we're in. This is not how we had planned this several months ago to talk about the future of Destiny 2 and reveal where we're headed with the team. You know, this show's not how we planned it. We're building the game, not how we planned it, from our living rooms and, you know, basements and with our kids and our dogs and all sorts of stuff on our laps while we're trying to make this game.
Yeah, there's like an inherent weirdness to this. Even the weirdness of, you know, this is the first time I've seen you.
Oh, good shot, T-Mac.
for in the last like probably 3 months, and I don't know if people know, but outside of the show that is work, like those are actually pretty close. Like we hang out, we talk all the time. Our significant others are buddies, like, and so. You know, it's super weird just to see you in person.
Yeah, not on a screen.
Yeah, not on this little like Zoom screen.
I'm so tired
on
of
an iPad
working
or
from
something.
home
Like,
now,
it's
man.
just totally bizarre. Yeah. This is not how we.
Yeah,
envision
working
this,
from
and
home can be
certainly our hope is that
depressing.
it would be more than just
Like it's fine to
us
do
two
it like
talking about
you know
this stuff.
once a week or something
And
like
over the
that,
course
but
of the
like
summer,
every
we'll-
single day
a
for the
bunch of
last 3
people
months,
from the
it's
team are
fucking
gonna talk about
awful.
what we're up to.
Yeah, you need human interaction in life.
Oh,
Here we go, boys.
Ooh, is that a pyramid ship right off the bat?
Drifter.
Yeah.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Eremis.
You haven't seen this one?
Oh yeah, I've seen this. Never mind.
Exo Stranger?
Yep, that looks like the gun, right?
Yeah, looks like Exo Stranger.
Oh my god.
Maybe she'll have time to explain this time.
Oh shit. What the
That's a
fuck?
pyramid ship.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Let's go.
What is this?
Damn.
I like the snow and ice. It's gonna be lit.
Yeah.
Drifter and Eris, I know.
Oh, we'll figure out who this third one is here soon.
It's gotta be her.
I hope so, man. That'd be lit.
Yeah.
It is. It looks like.
Yeah.
It sure is her.
It does.
Elsie.
Damn. Oh shit.
What the fuck?
Wait, what? Is that her
How's that
ghost? What is that?
This is what I brought you here to see.
Oh,
Never
it's a
made
pyramid
that
ship.
before.
What the fuck?
Beyond light.
Beyond light.
Huh?
What?
Fall expansion.
So, Luke, is it finally time to explain?
You know, listen, like some jerk said that we were done with the Stranger story, and as you get back into Destiny and you keep like looking around,
Thank
and
God they
find
brought
this
her
downstream
back.
cover, a character who says that
Agreed.
she's not forged in light, and where the two of you meet, ground can break, becomes a pretty interesting tool to leverage here in Destiny 2 Beyond Light and going forward. You know, it is the beginning of a brand new era in Destiny 2. This fall, you're going to discover Europa, a brand new destination, and one of the first destinations we envisioned long ago when Destiny began. This is the birthplace of the Exo and the site of a newly active pyramid ship. As a
Okay.
player, you're going to face Eremis, a fallen warrior wielding a brand new power born from a very ancient darkness.
Like you, Eremis is a leader, but unlike you, she seeks revenge against the Traveler first, scattering her people's once great houses to the cosmic winds.
It's up to you to confront Eremis and her growing empire on the frozen battlegrounds of Europa. And it's up to you to go beyond and discover long dormant secrets hidden beneath
Sounds fucking sweet.
places lost to time, like
The Deep Stone Crypt.
yes, there you go.
That one I have
Lore
heard of.
corner.
That one I heard of, yeah.
Doing it. There's a lot
So it
more
is
to
on
Europa
Europa.
than you might imagine.
Yeah, I swear.
Here's your
I thought it
first
was in
look at
Celadus.
gameplay from Destiny 2 Beyond Light.
That's what Cade. Well, I guess Cade never actually said the Deep
Where
Stone
I
Crest
come
is
from,
on Enceladus.
the Darkness One.
Yeah.
He said something was.
I have witnessed
The alpha
this
footage.
firsthand. I refuse to let it happen again.
So what is this?
They look like some Vex architecture.
They look like
Time the
harpies.
truth presented itself to
Yo,
you.
what's up?
Darkness resides within, beckoning you. This is a truth we cannot hide from. And so we must embrace it.
Max.
So is this a Fallen expansion?
Yeah, this seems.
I would say, is this a season or
I'm
is this
seeing
still
some
an expansion?
Fallen. I think this is still Europa. So.
This will be in September.
Yeah.
The line between light and dark is so very thin. Let's cross it together.
Darkness subclasses.
We're going beyond the light. We're going into the darkness.
Oh, that looked lit.
There it is.
Wield the darkness.
Wield is.
Yes. New subclass. Let's go.
I will give these guardians the destruction they crave.
Damn. Oh shit. That's fucking dope.
It's pretty cool.
My Seraph Tower is fully equipped.
Destiny 2 Beyond Light
fully charged.
All currently supported platforms on September 22nd this year. And it kicks off a new era in Destiny where players will discover the true nature of the light and the dark. Not just walking the thin line between, but wielding the darkness itself as a weapon with stasis.
And we did just get like a very brief look at that today. And, you know, obviously we're going to end up showing more throughout the course of the summer. And the other thing is stasis, this new power, isn't just going to be Guardian supers and abilities. It's a brand new damage type. So that means it's going to ultimately sit alongside Solar, Arc, and
fourth
Void
one.
as the first new element we've introduced to the game since the original Destiny release way back in 2014.
This is a big deal. Like, it's a big deal to add this to the universe. Like, it changes everything.
And it's a lot of work. Today,
This
yeah,
is
you got a
fucking
glimpse of this new power, and it's definitely the pursuit and
I'm
acquisition
excited.
and the players'
We back,
ability
boys.
to wield it is something that's gonna be woven in through the narrative of the game. Like the game is kind of a collision course between you and Eremis, and we're gonna show you a
Fuck
bunch
you,
of
Paul
more about
George.
stasis later in the year.
Because though we're excited about what we're delivering this fall, we did say that Destiny 2 Beyond Light was the beginning of a new era.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Well, it means that we're thinking about Destiny beyond just any given year and thinking about it over time. And so we want to take a look into kind of the long future of Destiny.
New engine?
When you want to look ahead, like we're about to do, it all starts back at the beginning.
What are we
Oh, I remember this.
What are we looking back for?
It's the opening cutscene.
Yep.
But why are
Traveler.
we looking back?
We called it
Remaster Destiny on PC.
Remaster?
its arrival.
How many
Yeah,
times you seen this scene, Sully?
A lot.
Eyes up, Guardian.
If somebody had never played Destiny, I would totally get it on PC.
Same.
100%.
Same.
Guardians of
How about they added the D2?
That would be amazing.
Maybe that's what they're about to announce.
That would be fucking huge.
I love to run
What's
these
what it's
old
looking
races.
like, dude?
They all bow.
Somebody
Remember
in
Crota? I remember Crota.
We have slain his
Somebody in the chat put
We have
Dinklebot.
murdered his
Remember
son.
Oryx?
And now the Taken King comes for us all.
I remember Oryx. I remember Cade, too.
He dead now.
Bring this back.
Just add mantling if you bring it back. That's all I ask.
We thought we were indestructible.
Remember Siva?
Yeah. Please tell me that.
Dude, that was my Guardian. They used my Guardian.
You're not brave.
They stole it from you.
Really forgotten the fear of death.
Now they're gonna show us this stuff.
Everyone in chat saying D1 and D2 on PC.
We'll see. It's kind of looking like they might combine the two.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Are we even Guardians anymore?
Forsaken, the best story campaign.
Wrong.
Yeah.
We should have been there. Any last words?
It's the best story campaign.
Yeah, story campaign.
I'm coming home.
I just thought it was so cool that you thought it was just Tangled Shore, then all of a sudden it was like, oh no, wait a minute, there's another destination.
Yeah, there's like a
as well.
secret like city.
Yeah, I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
You guys remember Riven?
Yep.
Oh god.
How long has it sat in silence, watching us? It seems those responsible for our collapse are coming back. We've been waiting.
Salvation.
I think she picked up that darkness subclass when she touched that statue.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Salvation.
Like Drifter, Eris, and
Exo Stranger.
Like that's actually perfect for the next expansion.
Do you know which side you're on?
The Witch
What?
Witch Queen? What is this?
D3, no D3 confirmed.
The side should always be taken.
No D3.
That's next year.
Well, that
2022, what?
Even if it's the wrong side.
Lightfall. Whoa.
Lightfall. So they're already coming out and extending their expansion games.
Damn, they've got all kinds of shit. What the
It's
fuck?
gonna continue with the next major expansion, the Witch Queen, and Lightfall is gonna kind of drive this all to a moment.
He didn't want to say and.
These three releases represent this new era.
Destiny will never end.
These eras began really in 2014 with that era of light, where players entered.
Yeah, this
Destiny
is all
for
coming
the first
like
time.
years
They
later.
were resurrected.
Though,
They
so.
went to the tower. They learned about the things
Stuff to
that
look forward
children were
to.
scared of, and we
Nothing
exited
here
that
now,
era when we
Destiny,
became.
they're known to
Guardians.
change
We are now
courses, though.
Coming out of an era of loss.
Oh yeah.
Of our powers.
Well, that was
of our
Activision
mentors,
though,
our
forcing
innocence,
stuff though
and soon
too.
We
True.
will be entering an era of darkness, and if it's not clear, we are all in on Destiny 2.
Last year, we laid out a vision for the game that we wanted to build the definitive action MMO. Place it in an awesome evolving world that you can play anytime, anywhere with your friends. We are still completely committed to this ambitious vision, and we're going to continue reaching to deliver it in Destiny 2. And to be clear, listen, I'm sure like over here in the Twitch chat, there's like, some mix of salt and space dad. We haven't gotten everything right out of the gate. For example, we've already begun working on changes that we're going to make to our seasonal model in year 4 to get a bunch of the FOMO that's in the game right now out of it. And this is a response not only to your feedback, but just, we took it in the wrong direction. You can lay that at me. We're also working on
Respect,
things like
Luke Smith,
transmod,
respect.
and that's
He's
gonna be
always
an experience
took
that
criticism
means
pretty well, and he'll always
armor
take the
is kind of
blame.
always valuable to you because it can
Earns
always
respect from
represent
me.
a look for you to chase. And we've got a bunch of other improvements to the experience that we're working on. Things like the quest log's gonna get like another awesome revision. We've got like small touches, like a oft requested one. And I think when we started Beyond Light, this was one
Emote
that
wheel.
I made to Mike Zach.
Emote wheel, let's go.
Yeah, getting a dark title screen back in Destiny so that the light white heat of the title
Dark
screen doesn't
title
light up your
screen.
entire apartment at 2 a.m.
Thank
so
God.
there are the small features, but then there's also some big features, and maybe one of the biggest is next generation support.
I think one of the most exciting things we're going to talk about is
There it
the game's
is.
gonna run at 60 frames per second and 4K resolution on the new hardware.
We're also really happy to say that whatever content you already own or will
This is
own
huge.
in Destiny 2 will come with you
That's
to your next
huge.
generation console of choice at no extra charge.
I'm
On
not surprised they're
PlayStation,
doing that
you'll be able
though.
to upgrade
No,
to
neither am I.
PlayStation 5
It's free to play,
for
so it
free.
makes sense.
And on Xbox,
Oh,
we'll
and a
support
lot
smart
of games are
delivery,
doing that, like
also for free.
Cyberpunk,
Yeah.
In plain English,
Madden,
this
I
means
think.
if you own
Yeah.
Destiny 2 expansion content on those platforms,
It's like
now or
expansions
in the
go with it,
future, or
too.
by Beyond Light in September, you can keep playing on the same family consoles for free without buying the expansions again. We think that's going to be awesome.
Does that work for
And you
cross
don't
save?
have to
though?
worry about busting up your friends list either,
Probably
because
not.
we're going to support
Crossplay.
intergenerational crossplay within each console platform.
No
ecosystem
way.
as well.
For the
This
for the
means
console
that
platforms.
if your brother's playing on PS4 and your sister's playing on PS5, all three of you.
Oh,
can play
okay,
together.
I
We're
see.
gonna do
I
the
got
same
you.
thing in the Xbox ecosystem.
Cross-generational
This year we're
crossplay.
focused on
Gotcha.
intergenerational play, hopefully next year we can finally do the thing and get them all playing together in the same ecosystem.
Yes. So Shadowkeep was cool, and Shadowkeep brought back the moon and upgraded and enhanced it. And so we brought a destination out of the vault and, spruced it up, and that's where you got to play. We're not doing that with this fall's destination, Europa. It's a brand new place you've never been before. And both the Witch Queen and Lightfall are going to also include brand new, never before seen destinations. These expansions will stretch out across the timeline. That's going to bring much anticipated enemies to the forefront and hopefully deliver some twists, turns, drama that we don't think anyone's going to see.
I think she's the Witch Queen.
But to deliver these big content each and every year and keep building on top of our seasonal experiences while making technological leaps forward, we also need to make some big changes to the way we treat some of our older legacy content.
Here it is.
The stuff that maybe is getting a little long in the tooth that you're not really looking at and playing anymore. You're not.
Destiny 2 is a huge game. We
There
have
it
9
is.
destinations, 40 story missions, 54 adventures, 42 lost sectors, 17 strikes, 31 PvP maps, 7 raids, and hundreds of game systems that layer.
Not
on
enough
top of
raids,
that.
fucker.
I could go on. And I probably screwed up one of those numbers. The fact is, the game is too large to efficiently update and maintain. We're on track to be like 115 gigabytes on PlayStation alone, and
Shit,
our
that's
updates
nothing
to the
compared to
game
Modern
are
Warfare.
huge, and
Yeah, no, I was gonna say.
We don't want to start over from scratch and build a sequel. And in order to make a sequel, we would have to stop supporting Destiny 2. Like, it would effectively go dark.
We talk about a single evolving world, not multiple evolving worlds, but a single evolving world. And we don't want people to have to start over. We don't want to have that loss of continuity with our game systems and our communities and all the players together.
We don't want to put another number on the box. So instead, here's our plan. Each year, just as a new expansion comes out, we're going to cycle older, less actively played activity and destination content out of the live game and into what we're calling the Destiny Content Vault, the DCV. Moving content into this vault is going to allow us to add support for D2 for years, including Beyond Light, the Witch Queen, and Lightfall.
He almost forgot it.
This vault is also going to allow us to take content from Destiny 1, do some work on it, get it ready to come back into the Destiny 2
There it was.
ecosystem. So we're not just going to be taking stuff away. We're also going to be going into the classic vault and kind of bringing some stuff back or unvaulting activity and destination content each year.
Thinking about the greatest hits.
It took the fucking
Destiny,
Disney
right? Like,
method.
What are the new tracks we can lay down?
Putting it in the
What's
vault,
something
taking
from
it
the
out of the
past
vault.
that was like pretty cool that could be made even better?
More like a
if it
Fortnite
existed
method
today?
for video games.
What does that look like?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that there's a lot of awesome stuff that
They're
the team has
hitting
built
their
over
old
the
grades
6
coming
years
back.
of-
Yeah, I
6
was
years
gonna
of making
say.
Destiny and that Destiny 2 players totally have missed out on. Like later this year, Destiny 1's Cosmodrome is
Whoa.
coming back this fall. as a
That's huge.
collectible
That's the
destination.
Cosmodrome.
Its 3 strikes are also going to come back during Season 12 and Season 13. And part of the awesome thing here is a bunch of players haven't played Sepix.
Yeah.
Sepix was the strike from the beta way back in
Sepix,
summer
baby.
2014. It is the
Sully.
the oldest,
Like the definitive like original strike that we felt like hit the right notes.
Yeah,
in Destiny 1, right? And we left all that behind when we made Destiny 2, and we're saying like we don't want to do that again. Well, let's not do that again, but let's also reach into the past and like bring it into the present.
Dude, patrolling the
There's a lot of
Cosmodrome
great
is going to be
content
so
in our
cool.
past, and maybe this year we'll see a classic raid come back. I think it'd be pretty amazing
Classic
this year to see
raid.
the Vault of Glass.
Vault of Glass,
I'm in
let's
year
go.
4.
And returning from the players. Like I can imagine
Confirmed.
games where,
Vog
like,
confirmed.
champion Praetorians instead of just regular
That's awesome.
Praetorians, and kind of updating it slightly to the
I've
modern
never done
context,
Vault.
but still preserving that like.
Oh,
classic
Vog
feel.
is good.
This fall when the expansion comes out, not only are we going to be bringing back Cosmodrome and
Dreadnought.
adding Europa,
Dreadnought.
but we're going to look at some of that content that's been in the game for a long
Back
time, that's been
Cosmodrome,
free,
hell yeah.
that isn't actively played, and that's when some of that is going to be vaulted.
Well, after the show, we're going to have a much more in-depth article that you can read on our plans for vaulting content on Bungie.net and why we're taking this unprecedented approach and what it means for the game this year and for the game going forward. We're also going to be conducting a bunch of interviews to answer your big questions, and we will continue the conversation.
Nothing about the season coming up?
Ongoing this week at Bungie, community conversations.
It's gonna be a
as
stinker
well
season,
as
dude.
There'll be a bunch of
Yeah,
support
it's gonna
and
fucking
PTS
suck.
articles about this all summer long. You know, we've placed a bunch of bets on that.
See you in
Destiny
November
Cosmic
or
Void,
September,
whether
boys.
It's the Traveler waking up, whether it's
Yep.
the Stranger
Thanks.
dissolving after telling you, you know, there's so much more to explore out there. And so we're gonna start to bring a bunch of these threads home, and here's a look at the beginning of those threads coming home to roost.
There we go.
Season of Arrivals.
Oh, finally.
I think dropping VOG this season would have been huge.
Yeah, that would have been amazing if it came in the Rivals.
The Almighty has been reduced to smoldering ash. And with allies like Rasputin, who can stop us?
Come on, Lance Reddick. Why you gotta say stuff like that?
From
You're asking for
Titan
it.
to Mercury, their shadow reaches.
Is their message a warning? A trick? We can't know until we hear their words for ourselves.
Oh shit!
This could be kind of cool.
That's sweet.
You will not.
Whoa! Was that a fucking cloud sword?
They look like
Yeah,
it.
look like it.
The darkness reaches.
Oh fuck bows.
Something interferes.
I hate
The witch
bows.
sister of the taken king.
Savathun.
Savathun.
Go. New dungeon.
Sweet.
So that wasn't a lie.
We are the final
Hey,
line
public
of
events.
hope's
Everyone loves
second
those.
collapse.
Oh, I went back in time.
Your exotic quest.
Whoa, that grenade launcher looks pretty cool.
Trace rifle looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Prepare yourself, Guardian.
Was
This
that the Trials of the
battle
Nine
is
space?
not over.
It looked like it was Reckoning.
Yeah, I was about to say Reckoning.
It looked like they were on the
nine
derelict.
Yeah, okay.
This could be kind of cool.
So
I'll
that's
play.
the
I'll play
season
some.
of
I'll play
Arrivals,
this. Fuck
and
it.
it
Some of the
starts,
weapons look pretty sweet.
any minute now at 10 a.m. Pacific.
So today, we looked at a bunch
Any
of
minute
stuff.
now, it's
We talked
fucking
about
half hour, bro.
Let's go.
into the past to see kind of how.
Pretty
we got
sure they
to
showed
where
off the
we're at
Rage
today.
Lighter and
We
Dark
looked into the
Drinker in
far
there.
future.
Yeah.
with
Just
the
redesigned.
Witch Queen and
Dark Drinker
Lightfall.
looks way
And
different.
we also talked about Beyond Light, which is the beginning of a new era in Destiny 2.
Someone said Boltcaster.
Pre-ordering's kind of your thing. Like the pre-orders are gonna go live today. Like if you're interested, there's some sweet bonuses, and that's
Take
kind
my
of
money.
the summry of the show.
Fuck, I get
And you're-
paid
if you're
Friday.
thinking
I
about
might
the
have to
start
pre-order.
of where we're headed. Well, the season of Rivals, it's kind of like a prelude. You know, it's really setting up that story, and so we encourage you to get in and play.
There's one more thing I totally forgot. So today at 5 p.m. Pacific, we're gonna launch a brand new dungeon called Prophecy.
Wow,
New
today?
dungeon.
Prophecy
Holy
is a
shit.
dungeon that involves the 9, and that's kind of like all I'm gonna say about it because
So was
there's
that
a
8
little bit of
Eastern?
Involves the
business,
9, yeah.
to get
Yeah.
to with it, and then we'll wrap. But it's got a brand new set of armor for you to chase. It's got some classic armor for you to chase.
Classic
It's going to be at a
armor.
really high power level, which means it's like a solid day's work plus a little bit of skill to summit that mountain.
It's free for all players.
It's free for all players.
I'm fucked.
And we're
What?
going to show you a trailer in just a second. If
Free
you don't wanna see
dungeon.
anything from the dungeon, just
Nice.
click the little
Boys,
X or like
I
get
gotta
up and
work.
go,
This is
and go
bullshit.
Make an omelet and then come back.
I'll let you know how it is.
And you can
I'm
play,
fucked. I gotta
Destiny
grind,
Rivals and
dude.
Destiny 2. And I think that's the business side, right? We're like
Yeah.
there. We've
I think
we've
yeah,
handled
I
everything.
think it's
I wonder what the
time
power
say
level is
thank
gonna
you
be
all for tuning in and
to,
giving us
or the
some
max
time
power
today,
this season.
and just for playing Destiny and being part of this amazing community.
It has.
Oh no,
and
I'm
it
at like
will
980
continue
though.
to be a journey. On behalf of everyone
Right,
at
start doing them powerfuls, man.
Please stay safe.
Yeah, I'm gonna
out there,
fucking
and
grind here at 1
we'll
o'clock.
see you soon.
Yeah, that's a derelict.
Yep. New dungeon prophecy.
Whoa. Whoa.
Cool.
Looks cool.
It looks cool. That's the armor.
Oh, they're bringing about the Trials of the 9 armor.
Yep.
Oh, nice. I don't have any of that.
That is what that is. Yep.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
lost
know.
it after I moved to PS4.
And I know a lot of people have been wanting that to come back too.
It looks
That armor
good.
was sexy.
Yeah. Up is down.
What
Whoa.
the hell?
And some anti-chamber up in here.
Whoa. Is that a sparrow section?
It looks
Like
like
it.
it.
This looks pretty fucking cool.
Seek the 9. Cool.
Who's carrying me?
Oh yeah,
I will.
facts.
Don't
Shit,
worry.
this is math armor too.
Me and Sully will do carry.
Dido.
Dido Foundry.
Okay, so that Reddit thing wasn't too often. They talked
No, it
about
wasn't.
Dino Armor and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, it had all that.
Wow, boys, that was it.
That was awesome.
It's fucking dope.
Yeah, I heard that the Lupo is gonna be interviewing Luke Smith after this.
That's what I heard from you, probably.
Yeah, I forget where I heard it from.
Is it on Lupo's channel?
So not a whole lot
think
going
so.
on this season, like shared this season.
Yeah,
but
can you put the ink in it?
Yeah, Dr. Lupo Q&A with Luke Smith after
Yeah, I
Arrival.
need to print off
New
that.
dungeon is good.
We don't have any paper. Fuck.
I would have not have thought New Dungeon.
Huh?
Same.
I thought it
this
was going to be pretty bare
Me too.
bones again.
Yeah, at least we have like another in-game activity that like.
Yeah, and we have like
go
new
after.
armor sets that actually look great to go after.
When
Mhm.
we go get
Well, I like how it's going to have two. They said the old armor plus a new set. So I'm assuming the
Yeah.
old armor is the
Where else was it?
Trials of the
Trials of the
Nine,
Nine, yeah.
and then something new.
So that's probably why they didn't want to bring VOG into this season. They'll probably use VOG as in terms of like a seasonal content.
I thought for sure they were going to announce that Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 is going to be like bundled together, just as like Destiny.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
We don't need that
Yeah,
big release. We don't need to.
I think that's why they kind of talked about like the whole vaulting their content.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
then they can bring some of that back, and that's where they were like, oh, this is why we're gonna show D1, because D1 stuff is gonna eventually make its way into D2.
I'm excited to run Vault of Glass with you guys.
That would be just great if like those old raids like once a season, like they would just bring back like Vault of Glass for a season,
Yeah.
and then maybe Crota's End next season, and then just keep swapping out old raids.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then even if they take away some of like the old raids from D2, and that's what they would do.
Yeah, like swap out Leviathan for Vogue or something. And...
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I would be
That'd
down
be
for that. I'm on Lupo stream now.
Yeah, that's where I'm gonna head to.
Is
There he is. Lupo's the man.
Is he already doing the
PlayStation.
interview?
No, he's just
Oh, yeah, Dr. Lupo.
he's just talking right now.
I love when Lupo does Destiny content.
So it looks like we're gonna get Savathun this season, plus she's getting her own DLC.
The
At some point.
witches, whatever.
That shit was wild.
Works.
If nothing else, man, Bungie knows how to get people excited.
Yeah, man.
That's for damn
Yeah, they
sure.
do.
Bro, I
do.
can't wait to fucking kick Savathun's ass. Yes.
Following what we just saw, which is
It's awesome.
a huge number of announcements.
Yeah, I'm.
Damn, we get fucking Vault of Glass.
Yep.
We get Vault of Glass. I can run Vault of Glass again.
Nightfalls is gonna, or not Nightfall. King's End is gonna come back.
The Exo Stranger's back. There's a
Fucking
King's End.
Cosmodrone's coming back
a lot of things to cover
this
and I have a
fall.
limited amount of time to do that before we
Get the
go back
Cosmodrone.
and forth with
Yep.
I'm gonna bring him
Hell
up
yeah,
on screen,
bruh.
and we're gonna go over the
Yeah, man, this
Beyond
is
Light
gonna be.
reveal trailer
This
just
is a
because an
great move.
opportunity
Oh my god, are
to
you seeing the
behind
view
scenes,
counter on Dr. Lupo's
director's
stream?
cut of
Oh shit, I
what
gotta look at
It
that.
just
I was
went from
watching,
like 40,000 to 67,000.
I was watching King Ithalian, so I'm gonna actually swap over to Lupo.
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
I'm really surprised Lupo's doing this interview though.
He's the best person to do it.
There we go. No, we're good.
Like
I'm good now.
100%.
I can hear
Dado's
you.
already done it. He doesn't want to do it again.
So
Yeah, Dado.
anyway,
I mean, Dado's just like, hey.
dude,
Glad
thank
would
you
have been
very
a good
much for,
person to
taking the
choose
opportunity
too.
come
Right,
talk.
but Lupo is
come
so
hang
good
out.
at public speaking, it's insane.
Oh, he
That
is.
was a
He
lot,
is.
my friend.
Dude, it was. I was talking to some folks before it. I actually haven't watched the full thing until today. I checked the intro kind of late last night, and I watched the trailer we're going to talk about a couple times just to make sure I had my ducks in a row. And then, sitting here, I don't know if you saw, because I mean, you had me. I was sitting in there, and I don't know if you saw on the camera, but during the initial 8 minutes of silence, man, I was just having a hard time. Like, couldn't have done this one live because I think it would have been really tough to come out of that silent opening and get into promoting a game.
Yeah.
But
I think I speak for a lot of people when I say thank you very much to Bungie, you, everybody on the team for taking an opportunity to speak up on things that are important. I know I saw a little bit of pushback from people in chat, and while I do understand that you don't want your video games ruined, some people did sit and stare at the Almighty, as I said on Twitter, for over an hour and made it out on the other side okay. So 8 minutes, honoring the life of a man that has begun one of the biggest movements we've seen in equality is absolutely huge. And can never be overstated. So seriously, thank you to you and everybody at Bungie for doing that. I mean, it means I think more than you guys realize.
Yeah, the team did an awesome job of that. It was a shit ton of to try to get back to try to like pull myself back here. It is a shit ton of stuff we put on the table today. So,
oh yeah, there's. I even want to say I respect the fact that the back and forth you and Mark side by side. I saw online somebody that was 6'1" laid down between to make sure that there was correct social distancing between the chairs, which was hilarious, but appropriate as well. So.
And it was, I mean, we didn't do that at Bungie. We ended up going to a studio. There were only like 5 people there. Everyone stayed really far apart. We had masks right up until we sat down and we put them in our pockets. And I undersold the Mark thing a little bit. It's like my only regret from that is like, oh, he's like kind of a we're pretty close outside of that. Like Noseworthy and I, like he's like my best friend, and so I felt like I cheaped him out a little bit with my underselling of our romance, if you will.
I'm sure he'll be okay. Now, before we get into the Q&A, I have the Beyond Light reveal trailer up, and I wanted to take this opportunity to walk through it because you brought back the Exo Stranger. She's back, and there's a lot of interaction there. So if when you are ready, I'm gonna hit play on this. And you talk me through. I won't have the volume all the way up on it, so.
Yeah. Just a little context before we play the video. When we set out to think about this expansion set and where we had been, the last kind of massive event in Destiny was the end of Destiny 2, where the Traveler woke up and kind of, you realize that the Traveler maybe hasn't been dead. It's been intentionally dormant because any action would result in this, inevitability. And so, with Shadowkeep, it was really important to me that we start to pick up that thread. I felt like that was a really big ball to kick. And, with something like the Stranger.
Everyone watching Lupa right now.
Like Europa, these are really things I associate with, early Destiny. And so another thing that we were looking for, even before we hired a director for this piece, it was, we want to, reach out across all of Destiny's history and kind of pull some stuff together to say, hey, we're moving forward here. And the director we ended up tapping is actually the same director who did the Destiny 1
like
Mars video.
160,000 people in the Destiny,
it's
in
a
the
guy
Destiny
named
2
Ilya.
directory
We've worked
right
with
now.
a bunch over the years. And so anytime there's like a little homage, it's totally intentional, and that's just part of
Dead Game.
Part of Ilya's genius.
Yeah, Dead Game.
Let's
Totally.
roll it.
You got it.
I'm surprised they had Lupo doing this and not somebody that's still pretty active in the community.
That's what I was thinking too, but he is a good interviewer, public speaker, as Lurk
We
said.
didn't want them to be too threatening. This shot here with the drifter shot, that is a mirror of that original kind of Destiny 1 intro. You'll see another one of these mirrors here where Eris takes a little tumble. That is exactly meant to mirror the astronaut slipping. So if we pause here on the fire, so I'm a few seconds behind, but
a little delay.
Here.
I got it.
Yeah, we were really thinking about how to do the Stranger, because we didn't want the reveal to be totally immediate, but we also wanted it to be the kind of thing that the silhouette on a rifle would maybe tip the hand. And we entertained a bunch of different ideas here. There was one great idea from Ilya and his team where she was in an interior kind of on like an ancient computer, and that looked awesome. And we ended up going with the fire because the lighting was better for concealing the character in the way that we wanted to.
I think a lot of people saw the gun, and I know I speak for my chat for sure, and kind of went nuts almost instantly as soon as the thing was on screen.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that gun,
very, very quickly.
like,
but yeah,
yep.
This is the shot that was chosen for this is really solid.
Yeah. So then another thing we were thinking about was to when we wanted to make things that we created for the trailer kind of available to players. And so I think we've taken some of these things and woven them into pre-order bonuses for the game for Beyond Light.
I'm gonna see if the pre-order bonuses are up.
We do all this work to model these things.
Pre-order it now.
See what
we think it's
they
awesome
have
for us to get
included
their
with
hands
it.
on it.
So you're telling me, and for anybody that's misinterpreting that, a number of the things, the ships, the sparrows, that kind of stuff, is going to be available as potential pre-order bonuses for Beyond Light and things
That's
following
on
that.
Steam page. So
Yeah, I don't have it all stored totally in my brain, but I think, yeah, I mean, for sure, her weapon, and I believe the sparrow is part of it too.
Nice.
The ship's fucking awesome. We wanted to give the drifter kind of a different pod. Like, some of the fun of doing stuff like this is, getting to take characters who have really familiar aesthetics and give them something else. Like, I remember Mike and I talking about, like, well, if Eris is going to kind of be trudging through the frozen wilderness here, like, can we give her some, winter gear? Like, kind of, when you see your favorite characters from Star Wars, they have, like, different wardrobe changes. You're like, oh, the Han Solo parka's awesome. Like, it totally, what's Eris's version of the Han Solo parka? It's not like Han Solo parka. It's like an Eris parka.
That's going to be an official Destiny clothing piece in the future, I'm sure.
It doesn't look like it's up yet.
Yeah.
On Steam.
Probably need to update the Steam servers with it.
So here, if you so you can see as Eris is walking, there are these crystals emerging, and this is indicating that she is, this plus the final scene from Shadowkeep, the kind of post-game sequence, is really indicating that Eris, a character who has been, very anti the notion of the darkness, has maybe started to explore the edges of it, and is.
Are you guys getting a buffer or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was just wondering. I was like, did my internet crash?
No, it's on Lupus.
I thought the same thing.
She may be wielding something a little bit different.
That would be cool if
than you
Eris, the Stranger,
This even looks like
and,
almost a clue into
Drifter
stasis, which
would
obviously
become
I'll be
like
asking
the
questions about in a little
anti-Vanguard.
while. But yeah, this was
I just refreshed
kind
it
of
and it popped back
similar,
up.
Yeah, it's good now.
aesthetic
You already know I'm
to what
siding
we
with the
saw in
darkness,
gameplay
dude.
trailer. So,
Oh, of course.
This notion of taking our time was really important, not because of all the reveals, but because sometimes we'll have the marketing pieces, like these pieces that we put out that are really bombastic, and the pace is really fast, and I think the dungeon trailer and the like early gameplay trailer are like punchier and quicker, and we had this long cut for this piece, and then we had a shorter cut that was, I don't remember the exact time. And when people watched the shorter cut, we just didn't feel like it was giving the whole piece enough time to breathe. And of course, the 5-minute cut is like that's like Mike, Zach, and I being like, it can be long and slow like a Kubrickian movie or whatever. Like, and so we find some like reasonable here, and I think that we did get to this really nice length here. This is meant to show an uncomfortable meeting between three characters. The dismount for the stranger and into this thing that emerges from her. That object, I know we're gonna have a lot of questions about, and I'm not gonna talk too specifically about them. But the stranger is not forged in light. The stranger does not have a ghost.
So that's not a ghost.
That is not a ghost.
Maybe that's the Darkness's version.
That is something different.
I thought it was a ghost.
That's what I thought.
That's kind of where we're gonna leave that for
yeah,
now.
Yeah, maybe that's the
there it
Darkness
is.
version
Sure,
of it.
not a ghost.
He just said it's not a ghost.
Towards the very end, she has a line, and if I can go back
The-
and scrub the
the
record,
nine made ghost.
It's a weird
about bringing
sea
them
creature
here
that
to
learned how to
see
fly.
the Dorito, one of the pyramid ships. Are we to
They called it
assume
the
that based
Dorito.
on that back and forth that Drifter, Eris
This is so
Morn,
natural
and the
now.
Exo Stranger have a previous interaction history?
I don't think it's assumed
He
that there's
called
a
it
previous
Dorito.
interaction history. I think when we were putting this piece together, we were thinking about who are three characters, because Destiny often happens in factors of 3. Who are the 3 characters who would be most interested in the power of the darkness? And the Drifter, with all of his, embrace the darkness, all of his like gambit chicanery is a great fit. We had and then Eris, of course, is kind of also a pretty great fit. And when I was this whole idea started with the Stranger, so she was there from the beginning, because I felt like anytime you want to explore something different, like the darkness, like I said on the video, like a character who's not forged in light, and a character who's like forerun, who's like kind of pointed at this notion that the collision with the player would break ground, felt like really good opportunity. And I know people have been waiting a long time to see her again, and I think that's I think this is a great time to do it.
Yeah, you could. I think that's an understatement. As one of the characters that I don't have time to explain why I don't have time to explain why we've wanted to see that for a really long time. The thing that's not a ghost.
Literally been waiting
I'm
since
just gonna
Camilla.
ask it outright. Are we going to be able to obtain something
Yep.
similar?
Not this year.
Not this year.
Not this year. Are you implying in the future that it would be potentially possible?
It's certainly an idea that we are
Ooh.
considering, because I think that I think it's you put.
What are they
something in
talking
front
about?
of-
It almost looks like a little
see how they
Kara.
react
Look
to
at
it.
its like leg, like tail behind it.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about the
we'll
thing
go
that's
from
not
there.
a
I think there's
ghost,
a
and
bunch of
that you can
opportunity
probably get one, but
to
not
add
this year.
super cool shit for players in
Yeah,
that
it's something
scene.
they're
I think that,
considering.
the Strangers.
I think they're gonna do like Horde versus
Buddy
Alliance in
is,
Destiny, Light
I think it's
restart.
pretty super cool. But
That'd be cool.
Our
It'd be a
community
really
is
good
gonna
way
tell
to
us
get a
what
lot
they
of people to play. Is just to have
they usually
factions.
do. Don't worry.
Again.
Between when
That could be an
Beyond Light is
interesting concept
released
for the
and
raid.
now,
Like, you
is
have to have
there an
3 light
expectation
and
for
3
the Exo
dark.
Strangers, the big
I
gap
don't know
in
if they'd
time
do
to be
that,
fleshed
per
out as
se.
to
You
what was
usually have
going
to
on,
stay within your
where-
faction.
where they went, all that.
No, she's gonna kind of debut in Beyond Light. She's not gonna be a part of the season of arrivals.
Just wanted to check. All right.
That's good.
Well-
It's your time. Let's do it.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to go through the Beyond Light reveal trailer. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say, holy crap, you guys are very good at cinematics. We appreciate you taking the time to do everything that you've done with that. But it is time to get into the nitty gritty. And as you told me before, and I want to make sure that people understand this, none of the questions that I'm going to ask you were pre-canned from Bungie. You didn't give me anything. I even told CJ, no, thank you. I'm good, because I wanted to
Luke
do
Smith
the
drinks
best that I
stew.
could to represent the community.
He's
the
the
position
god.
that y'all
All
have
great
offered
people
up to
do.
me. So thank you very much.
I was
And
about to
I'm
say,
gonna
he looks like the
start out
poster
gate,
boy for somebody that drinks
with,
Mountain Dew.
talking about in-game live events. We saw the
I'm sure he's got a
Destruction
bag of
Almighty
like
that was a
Cheetos
technical
as
feat
well.
for Bungie, proving you can do in-game
Doritos.
globally synced live story events. Very, very cool. Many players, though, were frustrated by the duration of the event and the level of communication around when viewing said event would be essential. Will Bungie be doing more live in-game events going forward? And if so, in what ways are they going to be changed from our first experience with them?
So I think that's an awesome and totally great question. The way I've been thinking about this event, which I think you said really well, is technically awesome. And once it kind of hit its stride, I think it's fucking cool too. But we had these Lego pieces, and I think the Lego pieces with things like what's the timing of an event? What's the way that players come into the world? How do they know when is the best time to be there? I think about this in terms of concerts, not Travis Scott, but like if you actually go to a concert or a comedy show or something, doors are at 7:30. But if you're there to see a comic, they probably don't go on time. And so I think that once you learn that, you're like, okay, that's fine. I think we could have signaled all of that better, and at the bare minimum, we've got to signal it better. But I also think there's a compression that we could be doing with the time that we're asking people to chill there too.
Follow up, if there are future events like that, is there an opportunity for players to maybe be a little more hands-on with the mechanics or the event playing out? Because I think a lot of people, while they did go through and do all of the bounties and public events to gas Rasputin up, it very much would have been nice to be able to, even just in this case, go to the Almighty, maybe disable a portion of the shield, anything like that where there is an interactive moment, because people often felt like they just sat there and watched.
I really should start getting ready for work, but I just can't.
Into before that, with no payoff.
I think that there's two things you can manage there, and I think they're both great pieces of feedback. Like the first one is, what's like the kinetic action game part of this? Like how do I get to feel like I'm more involved actively, like on the controller or on the keyboard? And I think that's awesome feedback, and we should.
They look like the Master Sword.
The second thing I would say is it's also about how can I very clearly understand the impact of my or the community.
No, the one that was in they just changed it. The B-roll footage behind him.
What is the like?
It just changed slides, but the guy had a sword on his back.
How could we
I think it looked a little bit like Throne Cleaver.
System at large, so that you are
Yeah, kind of.
actually feeling, on your director and your skyboxes everywhere. That this is a thing that's building up over the course of the season, so that when you see those missile streamers traveling at, physically real time, but maybe not like action game, that you're like, yeah, we did that. And so I think those are both awesome notes and awesome pieces of feedback. I think the other thing was, because this is kind of our first one, it was really meant to just be kind of like, I think someone said it really well, like a cinematic you were watching with other people.
Gotcha.
Better management from us for next time.
A lot of people in my chat are touching on crossplay, so I'm going to bring that up just super quick to get clarification so they understand. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that when the next generation of consoles, the next Xbox and PlayStation release, there will be crossplay within the same the same ecosystem. So Xbox, Xbox One and the next tier, and PS4, PS5, those will be able to interact with each other initially, but not cross-platform between the two. Correct?
Yeah, the intergenerational crossplay.
Yes. And then going forward, Mark specifically said that the goal is to achieve full crossplay next year.
Yeah, that's our target. We've been signaling crossplay for a while. We had some.
That's nice.
Other technical priorities this year, and we want to move on to
yeah, probably the cross-generation play will probably be a nice test for them before they want to go full on it.
Destiny 2 is the platform.
So that's kind of smart to just have it go and then have it
I won't bring up crossplay again.
test the bugs before just
and
launching
that's
everything and have it be a
Xbox,
disaster.
PlayStation, PC, Stadia, all together?
Yes.
There you go. There you go, chat. Okay, I want to swing back. Talking about public events, bounties. Seasonal Worthy on the PvE side felt like that was a majority of what we were asked to do. It became, for a lot of players, relatively monotonous. I mean, doing millions of these things, and that's the only thing you could do at the time to further the story is kind of frustrating. What is the plan going forward? Will seasonal content have a stronger variety of things to do?
So we're getting the feedback as we keep going. So one of the things that I associate with player feedback around Season of the Worthy is an intentional.
So basically, Season 11 is exactly the same.
Which is we want to refuel aspiration in the game, and for
yeah, we kind of already figured that out. I think
because we could only do one really big aspirational thing, which shows to do trials. And so PvE aspirational players.
I'd rather run a dungeon over and over than
left
do those
cold by the lack of something to care about at the top end. We've rectified that for Season 11 with the dungeon that comes out today at 5. And so we're making sure that we have that. With respect to like the bounties and the amount of bounties players feel like they have to do, this is going to be a continued area of improvement for us. Like we have stuff that we are planning for year 4 that is going to give players alternate ways to make bounty-like progress on their season pass. Like that I think can lessen the burden of making it feel like the best way to play the game is to grab the random bounties till you get the one for the lost sector and then run in and out of it over like that. That doesn't sound like a super fun way to play the game. So we've got to get better here.
You mentioned that Season of the Worthy obviously had trials, was the big aspiration. For Season of Arrivals, you have
that sword,
which begs the question:
that's the sword.
Is there a cadence internally about PvE
Looks
versus
like the
PvP
Master
for
Sword.
new content? Should we expect the back and forth each
Probably
season? Is there going to
Cleaver,
be,
like you
will it be split between both sides going forward for each subsequent season?
It's not going to be necessarily like a back and forth sawtooth. I think that we've talked about wanting to do a refresh to trials every year.
and I don't know that we've said exactly. I can't keep it all straight. I don't know if we've said when we're doing the next one. I do know when we're doing the next one.
Feel free to say.
No, I think that we
just checking.
You know, we talked about the PvE top.
Man, I wish I could just jump on Destiny right now.
In that video that we just watched, which is, you know, in year 4, we're gonna have the raid that comes out with Beyond Light, and we're also gonna have a raid that returns from the content vault. And so we'll have at least 2 raids. You know, we'll have 2 raid activities next year, and you know, we've got to figure out.
There will be a raid returning next year.
There's one season.
Yeah, they said they announced
COG.
Vault of Glass was coming back.
You said a raid was coming back from the content vault. Which raid specifically?
Fuck VOG.
There's a update on Steam for Destiny for anybody.
There you go.
And play there.
Fantastic. That's
But he said there was a new raid coming out with season or the
fuck the new raid. I'm running vaults.
Expansion, yeah.
Well, yeah, but it'll probably like be scattered. So
dibs on running artifact.
So change gears again real quick. Hardcore players of Destiny, of which especially on the streamer side, I admit that. And I'm trying to not be content creator focused. I'm trying to look at everybody.
Yes,
there are a lot of hardcore non-content creator players as well. They enjoy highly repeatable content. I'm going to use Diablo as an example.
One right now.
You have an unending difficulty scale in which you can continue to get rewards all the way forever, basically.
The game.
That may not necessarily fit into the Destiny structure, but GM Nightfalls were added as an even harder difficulty, but the reward structure for that was essentially a title that you only went after once. There was, with the exception of a small period of bug rewards, there was no reason to do those over Masters. Going forward, is there a plan to give a longer-term carrot on a stick mechanic for players in that situation that have done everything? And a suggestion, thank you to Dado for making this video, was that maybe you can have titles that level up.
Someone said in the general chat that it's temporarily at capacity, so we might get
level 3, level 4, something that will give people something to do, so you can show that they've dedicated a whole crap load of time to something, and it doesn't affect the way that the game is played.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. I'm pretty sure we're doing something like this starting soon, which is it might be starting as early as season 11. Again, like some stuff moves around in the calendar, but like gilding titles is a thing that we are working on and planning to do is one thing. I think another thing with an activity like the GM Nightfalls, which I think have a number of really awesome properties, we're going to be enhancing their itemization during year 4. I think that, you know, sometimes we're not totally sure how a thing is going to go. Like we do a lot of experimenting in this game, and maybe sometimes it feels like we do too much, but you know, we are thinking about that reward story for GM Nightfalls. And believe we can enhance that.
The server's lit.
And to make a build, I think that we have.
I'm just gonna let it play here
to make build crafting a little bit more understandable, and then I think figuring out how do we take experiments like the cool stuff from this season of the Worthy, and leverage those awesome things across the game. Like that's we got to do more of that. Like when we find something that's super successful, like how can we double down on it? Like that's, you know, we place bets, and when the bets hit, you know, we have to double down.
The player base has always had kind of a complex relationship with paid seasonal content and Destiny. The question, is it worth it? I see often asked pretty quickly after the first week or two of, you know, that man, this is brand new, that rush wears off. Should players temper their expectations when it comes to each new season? Should we be focusing more on the larger expansions as the target for highly repetitive stuff?
I think that this is a line we're still gonna have to find. Like we have basically a battle pass that for sure has $10 of value if you're like thinking about value. But I think we also ask players to play the game a lot, and so, you know, I think this year, you know, we overstruck the FOMO nerve, and that's, you know, completely on me. That's my direction and discretion, and I think I led us astray, and we're gonna fix it. The other thing that you're asking though about content, I think we have to continue to evolve the way we're thinking about content. Like again, this year we had a bunch of really cool stuff. Like Rescuing Saint 14 was a cool quest line that had a bunch of bunch of good elements in it. But I think that we ended up making, you know, a lot of 6-player arena type activities, and you know, you can lay that at my feet too. Like, I think that we need a more, you know, diverse offering in our seasons. Imagine a season where you have, you know, we're not doing this, I'm just saying imagine a season that's all about a handful of exotic quests. So you have a bunch of cool quest lines that season, and that's the primary thing that you're doing. I think that we've got areas to improve here, and we you know, we need to do it, and we're going to do it. But you can, you know, you and the community can always lay the blame for the stuff that you're unhappy with directly on me. And you know, if it's awesome, the team did a great job, and if it's not what you wanted it to be, or it's not as good, you can blame me for it.
There are a lot of different avenues in which people express their frustrations and joys from Destiny. You have there's a team within Bungie that is responsible for monitoring all those things, right?
Yep. Oh yeah. The our community team, and we have a bunch of surveying that's happening kind of, you know, I'll say passively, in that it's, you know, technology that's you know, surveying reactions, seeing how people talk about the game. And so you know, we're always looking at that stuff, and then our community team does an awesome job of showing us what's going on in the game, because it's, you know, it's not always the place you want to send your team to go, you know, out into the wilds to collect.
Cosmodrome is coming in September 22nd.
Focused on that as their job.
With projecting a roadmap all the way out to 2022, it does seem more and more like Destiny 3 is not going to be a thing. Is there ever going to be a Destiny 3?
During year 4, Destiny first raid,
I'll say we're not planning to make one. You know, we believe really strongly that we want to build the future of Destiny inside of the Destiny 2 game. So you know that this
includes all PvE activities. So probably Menage is
continue to integrate Destiny 1 content back into Destiny 2. You just say to bring it back VOG. Cosmodrome is returning, and in addition to that, is it going to be a lot of people complain? And this isn't just to Bungie. This is to a lot of different games, that it's, you know, reuse of the same content over and over again, a copy paste of old stuff, because there may not be an opportunity to innovate. Maybe you don't have, you know, chances to build new things, or maybe it's laziness. Can you explain the thought process behind bringing that stuff in, and if we should expect the D1 content to, as a whole, return to D2?
3 raids playable this fall, including one set in the Deepstone Crypt as Europa as part
remake the Destiny 1. If only it was so simple as Control-C, Control-V. We're not going to remake Destiny 1's campaign in Destiny 2. We will probably never do that. But when I think about the content that we've built to date, I do think there's a bunch of really awesome stuff.
That's awesome.
Is, you know,
I always said Deepstone Crypt, do it.
Time as we've moved on, and so I think the Destiny content vault's an opportunity to, you know, selectively pull things out of the vault. Like, I will speak for myself as a player and not with my role in the team, but the idea of a ship landing, like heading toward a strike, and hearing the voiceover, you know, Zavala as we go to that Imperial land tank outside of Rubicon would make me laugh. That would bring me some joy. And so I think we have content that can, you know, touch our players in that way. It's also a balancing act, because you want to keep making new awesome stuff too, and that's not just limited to our players wanting us to make new awesome stuff. It's also about, you know, our development team wants to make new awesome stuff, and so we've got to find the right line between, you know, some of our playlists feel like greatest hits, you know, and our world feels new.
You have to read through that.
We're gonna keep exploring that.
In the future, will Bungie have, or maybe put forth a more concentrated effort to bring more of the lore directly into the game for a more cohesive narrative? An example is, I asked before stream if anybody knew the name of the Scion Flayer that was in charge of trying to crash the Almighty into the tower, into Earth, and pretty much nobody knew Amtek's name unless you read the lore. That's one of those things about the game where if you're not constantly staying up to date on all the little pieces, and that's an RPG element that should be respected, but having that stuff put in front of you is very important. Is that going to be something we should expect in the future, or are we going to continue to have to, even just for main plot points, to have to go to the Grimoire and read?
I think it's a mix, right? Like, Eremis is a character I believe that we summoned from the history of the game, and it also depends on how our lore, which is largely looking into the history, and how the lore, the narrators contained therein, sometimes reliable, sometimes how that relates to what we're doing. We do have a plan and vision for where we are trying to take this story, and we may find the lore super valuable in some respects, and in some respects it might be a zag because narrators maybe aren't always as reliable as we think they are.
With the Destiny content vault becoming a thing and retiring a portion of the current Destiny content, there's going to be people that will say that they feel like they've lost money or wasted money that they spent on content that they can no longer play. While I understand the utilization and the reasoning behind it, it obviously makes sense if you can't, update and patch your game in a timely manner. What do you say to the people that feel like they will have wasted money on content they can't access anymore?
I think it's totally that's totally an acceptable feeling. What we're trying to do, I'm not going to tell people how to feel. What we're trying to do is make sure that we can continue to grow Destiny 2 in the direction that we want to grow it, and we want to give people plenty of notification. More so maybe in the future than we are this year with what is gonna go away. And the other thing is we're setting this up in such a way that the content is going to go free in its life cycle before it goes away. And so it's not like we want to avoid situations where someone pays for something and then it just poof, it's gone the next day. Like that would super duper suck. But some of the harsh reality here is, content that we're pulling out of the game this year, vaulting, if you will, is some content it's not, some of it's lesser played, some of it's lesser realized. I don't think a lot of people are way through these days. And even though I think the Red War is cool, it totally represents a chunk of effort from our team, a chunk of effort from our players, and certainly a period in Destiny's history. We have to excise the past to continue with the future.
With stasis being added, I'm just going to ask some direct ones. It is a brand new subclass, so there will be 4 per class, correct?
A brand new subclass, 4 per class. What do you mean?
So you have Arc,
yes.
Void,
There'll
Solar,
be,
Stasis?
Yes. And a little, I'll break into jail here a little bit. These subclasses will be different than how the current subclasses are selected. They will not be locked diamonds. They are going to be a brand new model that allows for much more player choice and flexibility than the current Arc, Solar, and Void subclasses have. And this was something that was really important to me and really important to the team. So it's going to be a different way to customize your Guardian than it is today.
Those customization options, are those going to be integrated back into the current 3 subclasses?
That thing I said about experiments, we want to see how this goes. I think our desire is to get to a place where players have much more flexibility with their subclasses than what they have today. But also that means that if we should someday decide to break up the subclasses in Destiny, in Destiny 2, we'll probably make some stuff will probably go away as well. So we're taking that really seriously and thinking a lot about it. But right now, focusing on stasis and the new paradigm.
Is there any concern around homogenization between subclasses or balancing? Now that you're going to have 4 with with options underneath that.
Yeah, I think homogenization is, just for me, kind of an ongoing concern. But it's really hard to make something that competes with, turn into a tiny god and run around and destroy everything, which is what a bunch of our modal supers are. And so we've got to figure out what's the right balance for those things. I think that I'll kind of just talk out of church here for a second. I think that the relationship between the supers in Destiny 1 was maybe a little bit more interesting than what we have today. Or today, the classes do kind of have similar versions of the same supers, and I think there's an opportunity for us to pull them apart a little bit more than they are today. But that's the thing we, again, take really seriously, because people might identify as, I am only a Spectral Blades hunter, aka a douchebag.
and I don't want to just strip people of that either. Take that. So
rude. A number of different questions have been brought up around sunsetting and the plans, how that's going to be implemented. So I'll just hit you with a couple of those. Will there be a completely new set of weapons in the loot pool after each sunset, or will we be collecting our Better Devils version 3?
I have to look. It's gonna be a mix. We're gonna keep updating that world pool. I think we had a blog post about that with a mix of the new. We're also, the team's actively developing a bunch of new traits or perks, and so I hope that I hope that we do. I think we can do better than it's the same Better Devils you had with the exact same rolls. Like, go and get it. Like, that seems that seems below our potential. I think we can do better.
Is sunsetting being implemented as a way to force players to shake up the meta within both PvE and PvP?
It's not being implemented to force players to do it. It has a knock-on effect of, as max power level goes up, certain weapons, will fall by the wayside, and at least in high-level competitive activity. And I think that has a number of good properties, even though I also know that some dissonance for our players where, wielding a gun in Destiny is different than wielding a staff or something in an MMO, because the staff is basically just glorified stats. And our weapons team, curates each legendary, very bespokely. So it's easy to find a gun. I hope it's easy to find a gun that you fall in love with and that you love to for. And the idea of that going away, or that not being viable in 12% of activities, I guess, is hard for people to reconcile.
Is SRL coming back?
Nothing to talk about right now, but I do that people miss it. I think that it's a good question. Keep asking.
Do we have an expectation on yes or no and timing, especially with crossplay in the future for dedicated servers for PvP or a higher tick rate?
That we should follow up with a technologist. I am definitely not the person to about tick rates. My English degree doesn't do a whole lot of good there. Dedicated servers, though, like the Destiny infrastructure is built on a PvP or a peer-to-peer platform, and I don't know that we'll migrate the game to dedicated servers ever necessarily at this point.
You can say no. It's okay. Not that you have. I'm just saying.
I said a version of no. It's a soft no.
Yeah, we see you. Don't worry. Any plans for more Whisper or Outbreak type missions in the future?
Secret missions wouldn't be secret if we talked about them.
Touche. I think everybody can be okay with that and kind of read into it a little bit. I'm sure they're smart. Any plans for? I'm gonna ask a couple easy ones because I've been hitting you with some tough stuff for a little bit. Any plans for beards on characters at all? People keep bringing up beards to me.
I mean, listen, as a furry, furry-faced dude myself, something like that would be cool, although a little weird to put on my female characters. But we're in the process of redoing redoing our face pipeline all together right now, and maybe someday down the road.
Any plans for like an auto dismantle on blue drops? No, I mean nobody's really keeping those except for maybe one or two one-offs. A chance to just have those get filtered right into the butter churner as soon as we pick them up?
I think the real question, although, again, I'll break into jail here. The real question is, hey, when am I going to start using greens and blues again? I think that's an interesting question because right now we have a bunch of the colors that in fact aren't used. And so, that's my version of that question. Don't worry, that the thing I'm talking about is not happening this fall. But that's a real design question we ask, which is, why do we have these other colors if we're not going to use them?
What's the reasoning behind some of the blanket weapon nerfs? We have outliers, like high impact fusions, 150 RPM hand cannons, 140 snipers. The entire weapon class gets punished because of one or two individuals. Is there reasoning that's the way that's done?
I think historically, I'll look at hand cannons because I think that they're a weapon people care a lot about. The hand cannons would all get touched. They would all get touched because of technology. And so what the team's done this year is they have broken out the hand cannon tuning by RPM. so you can touch a 150 instead of a 180, et cetera, et cetera. And so we're trying to make that better.
Regarding PvP specifically, what's the team's design philosophy behind what their current long-term PvP pursuit is, and what should we expect for PvP specifically in, I would say both Season of the Arrivals and the next expansion?
That feels like a big question.
It is a very big question.
For us being out of time, that's a big one. We will get something in front of players this.
Perfect.
Committed.
How much longer do I have you for?
I really gotta pee. I got a rat, man.
All good. That's fine. Like I said before, there's a whole ton of questions here that I had. I tried to hit as many as I could. But thank you very much for your time, Luke. Sincerely, it does mean a lot. I mean, you could have just not done this, which, I mean, I don't think anybody would have been happy with that. But hopefully, people are accepting of the response that you gave. Again, go to the bathroom. Luke, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of your day, man.
Thanks for having me, Luke. I really appreciate it.
Of course. See you, bud.
Yeah.
So there you go, chap. Luke Smith, game director of Destiny 2, and I think I probably ran him further past the time that I originally had for him. So hopefully that was good. I tried to ask as many questions from this massive list that you guys brought forward. Hopefully, if any other channels are restreaming this, I hope I did what I could to answer your questions, field your hopes, expectations for the future. There's a lot that came out of that. A lot of people in chat were talking about cheating, and I'm going to be very specific. I completely ignored that question because there's no good answer from Luke. They've talked about it a bunch of times. They're doing everything that they can, just like every game, every develop.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. I'll have this up on Charge Shot sometime this week. And until then, I'll see you next time.